Diary of a Journalist, the podcast where we dive into the untold stories behind the headlines, explore the highs and lows of the journalism world, and uncover the personal journeys of those who bring us the news. In each episode, we'll sit with reporters, editors, photographers, and media insiders from across the globe. We'll discuss the challenges they face, the moments that define their careers, and the passion that drives them to seek the truth. From breaking news to investigative reports, from war zones to local communities, you'll get an insider look at what it truly means to be a journalist in today's fast-paced world. So whether you're a news junkie, an aspiring journalist, or simply curious about the stories behind the stories, this is for you. Grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we turn the pages of the Diary of a Journalist. Let's get started. Hello, welcome to Diary of a Journalist. This podcast is where we dive into the untold stories behind the headlines, explore the highs and lows of the journalism world, and uncover the personal journeys of those who bring us the news. My name is Arit Effanga. I am your host and your fellow storyteller. And so this edition of the program will start with our interview session, and then we'll dive into the story for today. My guest is a renowned journalist. Hello, Gloria Ikiba. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me on the show.
Hello, Arit. Thanks for having me.
Well, just as the name implies, Diary of a Journalist is that opportunity for you as a journalist to tell us the stories behind the stories. That's your story. You're used to covering individuals, institutions, and telling us their stories. So now let's get to meet you as a journalist.
My name is Gloria Ikiba. I am a journalist. I started journalism proper in 2011, but prior to then, I was into independent television production. I'd worked as a graphic artist. I have a first degree in fine arts. And I've also worked as a video editor. And then, of course, I started reporting. I moved into the field, started producing. I produced You and the Economy for the Central Bank of Nigeria for about 5 years plus. And then I was also into magazine production. I was reporting for magazine, She World. And then I moved into newspaper production. I worked with Nigeria Pilot as one of their pioneer staff and left there. Still newspaper. The Federalist was owned by Donyo Kupe. Afterwards, I moved into broadcast radio. I was with WFM, one of the pioneer staff there. I left WFM and moved into television proper. Remember, I started with independent television production. I moved into television, covering various beats, women, children, legislature, diplomatic, and the economy, in general. I left WFM and delved into the corporate world, went into the banking. I got an appointment as the head of brand and communications with SunTrust Bank, and I was there for a short while. Journalists always want things to be done properly, and I don't think we can stand psychological stress that is outside the core journalism. Of course, at a point I had to resign, and I came back to journalism, and we started Naija Blitz News. I'm an editor there.
That's currently?
Yes, currently. And we're 2 years gone, and we're doing very well. Of course, it's something I had not done. So you're looking at online production. It has to be the name Blitz. As the news is breaking,
back to back.
Yes, back to back. So it's like you're walking around the clock. The interesting thing is you walk everywhere, anywhere, so long as there's network. So you see yourself working remotely. I really don't feel like bound that
you're not tied to a spot.
Yeah. I don't have to go to the office. All I need to do is ensure that the work goes on. And it's been pretty interesting working with people that believe so much in your expertise, believe so much in what you can bring to the table, and nobody undermines you, nobody talks down on you, nobody gives you calls the shots, kind of. So you know what you're supposed to do part time, and you do it.
That's like with your current place of work, you kind of have the freedom to bring all you know to the table.
Absolutely, absolutely, and nobody throws it away, because you've kind of seen it all, in quotes. You've been there, you know why it works, you know why it wouldn't work, and you're also learning. For me, I've come to see that journalism, communication, media is a place where you don't know it all. You must come like you do not know it. That's the only way you can bring out what you have and also learn. So,
okay, now, so listening to you, I have too many questions running through my mind, but I'll take them one at a time. For someone who has a degree in fine arts, what was that decisive moment, or that click that made you switch from the canvas into the world of journalism?
Okay, I have a degree in fine art. I paint, I sculpt, but I majored in art history. So the art history has to do with documentation of works, critiques, and stuff. But I've always had that flair for broadcast. I've always had the flair. And okay, I didn't mention that I had done my internship with NTA, where I was in the graphics department, and you watch those people, you're in the studio, you watch them, produce, we watch them, cast the news. It's like you're learning, it's like a learning process for you. So for me, I feel whatever I had in me, was breathed then, that you can do this. In as much as I wasn't keen going into full-time journalism.
Okay, so you're saying that NTA gave you that platform?
That platform, yeah. And then I did our internship there, and there was a delay in giving us our employment letter. I was supposed to be in graphics. I remember when I went for interview, and they said, no, you should be in programs because of your antecedent experience in production, television production. But at a point in time, in Nigeria, you just find out that things don't work the way it should work. They don't use quota system. So you were there endlessly as an intern, waiting for your employment letter, and they were giving some group of persons maybe that belong to a particular region, and
so you felt like you were being sidelined.
Yes, a number of us that were not from the north, we were there. We waited for a while. If I had to leave a lot, I left them 2011. Mind you, what brought me back to NTA after my NYC was because my late boss called me and said, there's an opening in the department and you're very good. You use the OB van very well. You're good in graphics, and we don't have, your state is not covered.
Okay.
So I think you should come in.
So the quota system
now
came to play.
So, and then I came in and I met the then EDN, Executive Director of News, and he was like, yes, in the next 2 weeks, from 2 weeks, it moved to 3 weeks. Don't worry, we'll soon employ. Shortlisted our names, went for interview, did the written test, did the interview, and then, of course, you're not using the quota system. So why are you delaying me for months? So I had to walk away. I just took that and I walked away, and I got employment with Nigerian pilots.
Oh, okay. So approximately how many years have you practiced as a journalist?
I've practiced from 2006, that after my NYC, but of course prior to then I was always IT and then holiday jobs. Going to full time 2006 I started working with late Yinka Craig. He actually gave me the opportunity to express myself.
So that's almost 2 decades.
Absolutely.
Now, in 2 decades, reporting, different sectors, different individuals, which story would you say, or which job would you say actually stands out for you? Like the most challenging or the most exciting of them?
I would say that I've covered the legislature for about almost 10 years now, and I'll say it could be challenging, because you see things happen on the floor. Some things that shouldn't happens, and then sometimes you're almost able to predict what would happen. You kind of know a presidential bill. When a presidential bill is introduced on the floor, you know the tone it takes and the speed.
You can tell the outcome.
Yeah, and you can also tell sometimes when the principal officers have their boys, present their bills, stuff like that. So you kind of can tell the trend, and then for me it's exciting when things happen. There's some traditions that must, the procedure that must be followed, and then for me, telling the story, I don't like just to report it like, I'd like to add a little description to it, try, because it makes people understand how proceedings happen on the floor of the house. Like when you're talking of admittance of non-members, into
the chambers.
Yeah, into the chambers, it's something that's so interesting, Then for people, you see people that come to the gallery to watch, it's kind of it's interesting, Also, this is it is done, They call it the hallowed chamber. It is sacred, People, you don't just allow any kind of person in it. Even if it is a former member, the person must be admitted, And then the procedure when a member dies, whether he's serving or an old member,
the protocols,
the absolutely. The tradition that sitting will not hold, they'll convene, but they have to, they have to give honor to that person for that day, and a number of things. And for me, it tells that it's an institution that should be revered, should be held highly, and also that more needs to go out. The people needs to be educated on the duties of the legislature, because Nigerians believe that as a lawmaker, you must promise that you're going to do boreholes, put lights. No, that's not their problem. They're there for lawmaking, to make laws that should guide us. But would you blame them? I need your vote. If I don't tell you that I would not build road, you will not give me. If I tell you I will make laws to help you, now you say the whole laws you've made, how has it been implemented?
How has it put food on my table?
Absolutely.
Okay, if you have just joined us, thank you very much. This is the Diary of a Journalist. On the show, we bring to you journalists across Nigeria, across the boundaries of Nigeria, to tell their own story, taking you into their world, get to find out if they have their own fears, how has work been for them, and then try to bust some myth that we have held over time about journalists. My name is Arit, and my guest today is a senior journalist, Gloria Ikiba. Now, I would want to ask this question. Is there any time, have you at any point in time regretted taking this path? Like you just decided, like, I'm done with this job, I don't want to do this anymore, or I can't do this anymore?
No, I've never ever regretted this path, For me, the challenges,
like it's all been rosy for you?
No, the challenges just keep me going. It's a very vicious circle that you must be vicious to survive as a woman, especially when you're working with men who do not know their onions and they see you as a threat,
The gender bites comes in again.
Thank you. In journalism, a few of the opposite sex, they kind of embrace you, they want to teach you, but some feel threatened, this job, so that means I might not get the position. And then mind you, there are also your bosses that want to lay you, because they feel that we do that, what's different with you? And then the moment they can't have their way, they try to victimize you, they try to intimidate you, and they even want to make people feel you're not doing your job. Imagine writing a story, taking your time to write a story or a program, you're doing your episode and send to your boss to edit or go through, and the next year, what kind of rubbish have you written? This is rubbish. And then he sends it back to you to voice. He has not edited anything. It's exactly what you've given him. Why?
The rubbish he gave to him is what he gave to you.
He didn't.
Gave back to you.
Yes, he actually did not see any fault. He was just trying to, he's just trying to, intimidate you, make you feel that less of yourself. And then, so maybe perhaps you might come forward and say, Oga, why are you doing this? For me, I never did that.
Like you would put yourself in a
vulnerable
position.
I say, you have refused doing this. That's why, I've gotten close to, I think I was in the elevator with one of my former bosses, and he was almost putting his lips on my mouth, and I was staring at him. He became shocked. He was like, you're not surprised. I said, no, you're a man. You're a man now. That's why you can do that.
He's a man, so you expect that within a closed space he would try to assault you. He would not. You understand why? What I told him, why I said you're a man now. It's only a man that will feel that I can do anything. A man that feels I'm your boss, and has tried to make passes at you, and yet he sees that you're unbroken. You're not you're not deterred, And then I wonder what he was trying to. Maybe the message was trying to pass.
Yes, he felt I would have said, stop it. Then he would now come. But the moment I've learned that when a guy is trying to have his way or want to have his way, don't behave like you're scared. Look at him and say, okay, bring it on. And then he stops because he doesn't know what he's going to get. Okay,
so now there are people who believe, they're Nigerians, people generally who believe that the media is not doing its job. That the media works for those who pay them and not for the interests of Nigeria. What's your take on that?
I don't totally agree with them. Now, why do I say so? As a journalist, you're the first gatekeeper. The kind of information and how you churn it out really is very, very important. Now, if you go for a press briefing and the person briefing is saying this group, this person that belongs here is mad, is stupid, you don't come to say that, because it could aggravate a lot of things. It could whip up sentiments, just like you go to an ethnic gathering and they're talking down on another tribe. You don't come to, you would say it, but not directly like that. There's a way
don't
you
say
pass,
it in a way that it will aggravate situations.
So that's it. And there are also tenets of journalism. For the government media, we know that they cannot outrightly come down to run down the powers that be.
Why not?
Why do I say so? It's not like they don't report it. They report it, but you can't. He who pays the piper dictates the tune.
I was just going to ask you if this is a case of he who pays the piper dictating the tune.
Yes, absolutely. And we know that each time it's close to election in Nigeria, a lot of politicians bring up news, media houses, television, radio, newspapers, online now. So that's what they use as the instrument to to promote themselves,
their agenda,
propaganda sometimes, like that, and they use the media. Now, the media, as a journalist, hardly would you see an organization that can stick out his or her neck for you in Nigeria. You do a story that is maybe an investigative report, and it comes out and they come after you.
You're on
your own. A number of times, your publisher will just, just very few can stand and say, no, these are my people. This is my staff. Yes, I said, what is it? What do you, like that. But a lot of them will push you out. You find out that you might even be locked up in the cell. We've seen a number of journalists die and nothing happened. So people do not want to die for a cause that would not even yield any solution. So what people do, a lot of journalists just do reportorial. Just very few do investigative stories.
Because of the risk involved.
Okay. And funding is another challenge.
Okay, so before I let you leave this afternoon, permit me to delve a bit into your private life. For a reporter, right, for a journalist who is always on the field chasing one story or the other, how possible is it for you to have a love life? Is it existence?
Absolutely, it's very possible. But dating someone that does not understand how the media works would really bring you, will affect your mental health. Let me use that word. Now, why do I say so? You are a journalist. You know when you leave for the office. You don't know when you return. And then now you have somebody you're dating, or your fiance, and okay, you say, okay, let's have dinner for 8. And by 8, you haven't even finished production. And you call and say, sorry, please, can we move it tomorrow? And the same thing happens tomorrow. You understand? The same thing happens tomorrow. Or he tells you, I'm coming to pick you out for lunch or for dinner. And you now say, no, please don't come.
I mean, this is what people say. While I be like date and production.
And then he thinks you're dating someone else. But you see, for some that understand how it works, they kind of leave it open. Okay, I'll come by 8. I won't be ready by 8. Don't worry, I'll wait for you. Okay. And then he comes and wait for you. For me, I feel whatever you love, you're ready to go an extra mile.
Well, is it the place of for instance, in your case as a woman, is it the place of the man to understand how your work, goes, or your place as the woman to, let him in on how your work
both. You want to know how it works. You like to see the fact that I write stories, or you like to hear that I've traveled to Ghana or I've gone to Canada on an official trip. How do you think these trips come? It's because I walk around the clock, So when there's an opportunity, you look out for people that can do their work to go for such trainings. So when you're in a relationship like that and you understand that this person is serious, look, this is how it works. I don't know when I'm going to close today. Can you stop by and pick me maybe by 9 or this or what? So when he comes to the office and sees you're walking, meet my friend, or meet my husband to be, like that, he now understands how it works. He also should try to know, in as much as you should also not go overboard. Now, why do I say so? Sometimes we just want to walk where you're supposed to rest, even when you don't have anything doing. You're supposed to rest, maybe lie down till about 8 or 9. You see that by 7 you're up, and after saying your morning prayers, you pick up your phone, your gadgets, and you start looking for one thing or the other. Or while sleeping, you wake up and there's a storyline, story idea that pumps into your head. You write it and you're thinking, stuff like that.
Okay, so now we've run out of time. I want to ask a question. That question you're supposed to answer with one word. You're not allowed to explain. Are we on the same page?
Okay.
So
I'll try.
So, are you in love, single, searching, or in the cupboard?
I'm
in love, single, searching, or in the cupboard?
That searching, is a woman supposed to search?
Okay, so let me rephrase it. Are you in love, open to love, single, or searching?
No, I'm open to love.
You're open to love?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much. Well, we've been talking with Gloria Ikiba, a senior correspondent with Naija Blitz, and the program is The Diary of a Journalist. We're going to be featuring journalists from across Nigeria, across Africa on this show. Join us. Do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Diary of a Journalist. Share, our videos, and of course, click on the notification button so that every time we drop a new video, you would be on alert. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Arit Effanga.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Diary of a Journalist, the podcast where we dive into the untold stories behind the headlines, explore the highs and lows of the journalism world, and uncover the personal journeys of those who bring us the news. In each episode,